Father, thank you for a beautiful day, another one, an opportunity to learn some more. Just pray that you bless our class here, and may we each keep the way clear and open so your Spirit can continue to teach us. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. Let's review just a little bit. What are the survival priorities? Shelter. Water. Health concerns. Fire and food. Okay. Most of these we've already talked about in one form or another except for shelter. So that's going to be the focus of what we're doing the next little bit. Need you all to go gather some sticks. Okay, let me give you some guidelines on the kind of sticks that we gather so nobody brings in any trees or little twigs. Don't bring anything bigger than my wrist, say here. Okay, probably more like thumb size. We're going to make a model of a debris, what they call a debris hut. I don't want to make a full-size one because that would take too long. In making the model, you still get the idea, and I think it works well enough. So anyway, probably, you know, like thumb size. If we're making a full-size one, I would use the wrist or even my, forearm here. But for what we're doing, just, this kind of size. They don't have to be straight, but I need some straight ones, quite a few straight ones, mostly straight ones. And let's say nothing longer than this. So if it's longer than this, see if you can break it to something smaller. I will need some about this kind of size though, so don't break all of them. If you have a nice strong one that's like this kind of long, we can use one for sure, and a couple others. All right, and we'll make a pile of these sticks, let's say right here next to Mark. That'll be a good spot for it. Okay, go gather sticks.
Don't just reach in without looking where you're reaching.
Oh yeah, be sure. And don't go really far either. I think there's plenty of stuff here close by.
This one.
That's fine. Just put it on the pile. You can be the first one to put on the pile. Yeah, right where you're standing. Right there. That's good.
Right next to Mom.
That could work too. Probably not as well, but yeah.
Papa, we can break it.
Yeah, we can. Just go ahead and put it on the pile like it is, though. We'll worry about breaking it later.
Yeah. We'll probably need some of them that size too.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna go over here.
Sure.
I'm just dropping stuff everywhere I go.
That's not level.
What about this one?
Oh, it's a level.
No, that's a good one. Maybe a little longer.
Start sitting in and you'll see.
Okay, I'll try sitting in it. Yeah, it's okay.
Is there any water or is that empty?
Hey, look.
There's
look
a
what
swallow.
he has.
Can I finish it off?
Yeah.
Mr. Jum, look what he has.
Yeah.
That was a perfect.
Am I going to be in the way here? Should I move over there instead?
No, you're fine. We'll make it right here.
Hey, look. I found another.
Well, wait till they get the pile of sticks
What
there.
about with
You're putting this pile there?
The pile's going right there.
Mr. Jum? Is it okay if it has leaves on it?
Yeah,
You could
sure.
put the pile here instead if I moved over there.
Well, everybody's already aiming that way.
Was that where you told him to put it?
Uh-huh.
Oh. I'm going to be in the way here, I'm afraid.
No, just stay there. You're fine. Oh, I'm going to run this over the trash can.
Pretty thick.
Oh, good job. That's perfect stuff.
Mr. Jam, look.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's can probably
Maybe I
use
should
it.
move over there. I feel like I'm right in the middle.
Oh,
Move
I
your
just
pack
saw a
over and
stick.
I'll move over there.
Hey, you know what I thought? I thought this was a stick. This is totally not a stick.
It's the bark.
Actually, we can put this one on the pile here too.
You know what I did? I thought this was a stick. But
Oh,
it was
sure
a
enough.
feeling. It was the bark of a stick. That's a bunch of sticks.
What?
Can I put me right here?
Yes.
Hey, look. This looks like seeds.
Yeah.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
See if it'll fit here.
Okay, bring what you have. Bring what you have and come on back.
Mr. Jem, this one good?
Yes.
Uh-oh. Look how much the fire is.
Yeah. You're going to bring some more.
Hey, look. There's more coming.
Yeah.
I think we got enough.
I'm gonna try to find some big.
Okay, don't break those off. Don't break those off.
Okay.
Maybe that bottom one just broke, but I want this one here on here still.
Over there. Samuel, move this way. So he's going to hit you with the stick. We're going to put it on the pile behind you.
Yes. Let's put on the pile.
Fair enough. But you need more. There's quite a big stem, guys.
Yeah. This one.
Yeah.
It's long.
Yeah.
I know, right?
What's all those sticks doing there?
People brought them in.
I'm sorry.
Fire.
Daddy, you're thumping, Jay.
Whoops. Oh, I'm saving this one for something else. Yeah, just.
Look how much sticks I got.
Wow. Wonderful.
Look.
Oh yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. We got plenty.
Oh, why not?
This one work?
Yeah.
That's a big stick. Yeah. Especially these ones. Yeah. Especially the long ones. Yeah.
We got more than we need. All right. Collector.
I think we're done with the
Yeah, we're done gathering sticks. We got plenty.
That's how you break them? You hit them?
Well, sometimes they'll break like that. Not always, but sometimes.
Some thin sticks, like the thin sticks, you can, like the thin sticks. Hey, that stick's taller than you.
Yeah. There we go.
Those thin sticks, you can break them by hand.
Yeah.
The thin ones. Like this. Like this. Look.
Huh? Okay, I
broke it.
gotta show the people now. Okay, wait! Don't be swinging that around. Somebody's gonna get hit and not be happy. Okay, y'all did a great job gathering sticks.
At first, the pile was empty.
Yeah,
At first.
you guys are gonna have to have a bonfire after we get done. Okay, notice that I've selected 3 sticks here. 2 of them that have branches, about the same length. And so these I'm gonna interlock. Oh, which direction do we want this shelter facing?
Us.
South.
South? Oh. Yes.
The
South.
opening facing away from the wind.
Away from the wind, So think a minute of the weather forecasts that you've seen where they have the satellite pictures and they're showing the weather coming across North America. It's coming out of the the northwest, right? So you want your back to the wind. Many native shelters they have had facing east, so the morning sun would wake them up and warm them up. So somewhere from east through south, and I'm guessing that's off this direction, so we'll set it up this way. Now, I'm setting this up with a tripod, and this particular shelter you don't need anything except what you can get from nature for. That's one of the reasons I'm demonstrating this shelter.
This is going to be dolly size.
Yeah, this is going to be for a person about that tall. Okay? You could lean this up against a tree or a rock or something else, right? Instead of the tripod, but this is what we'll use tripod so we can like see all the way around it. Next thing we're going to do, actually before we do that, one of the mistakes beginners make with this is we need to put in ribbing here next, okay? They call it ribbing, like your ribs, right? Just a bunch of sticks down here. And I guess two mistakes. The first one being, let's say this person's only this tall. Well, there's no point in putting ribbing all the way down here. That's just a lot of wasted time and materials. And so at the end of this, just kind of curve it around. And I'll put this stick here to mark the end. So like that's where his feet would come. The other thing is as they're putting the ribbing, like some will be out here, some will be in, and so the wall's all zigzaggy on the bottom. You want the wall as straight as possible. So try to put the sticks in like that. And also, we want the sticks not to be sticking up above the ridgepole. This is the ridgepole, very far. They can stick up a little bit, they have to so they don't fall through, but not very far. And we'll explain about that a little later. So the next thing we got to do here is add a bunch of ribbing. Now, if this stick isn't long enough here, it'll fit down here, right? So just put it wherever it goes. And we need both sides ribbed up. We're not going to do anything on the front. We actually would if we were building this for reals. But I want you to be able to see inside the shelter. And we're going to, anyway, need to access the front of it here. We'll talk about that front part of it a little later.
It's not on very flat ground either.
Yeah. Okay, so we need ribbing all up and down. That's your next job.
Come on, go.
Yeah, I'm not going to do this all. You need the experience. I've done this lots.
Look, Mr. Jam.
Yeah.
Put it on. Can I break it first?
Probably need to break it
Get in
first.
this one.
It's okay, we both had a good idea.
I'm going to break it.
This is so
Careful
cool.
you don't hit somebody with your
Oh,
stick
we're
though.
gonna make a bonfire there?
No, we're going to make it.
Don't you think I could put it like this?
There you go. It goes over there.
Don't you think we're making? I almost hurt myself. What? This doesn't work. It only works. Are we going to go in? Lots more sticks.
You want your sticks to be out here.
What can I put these? What can I put?
Okay, don't put anything on the front. Just do the ribbing on the sides. And we need it ribbed all the way.
Should the sticks lace in like that?
If they lace in, that's good. They don't have to, but if it's good if they do.
You want to break Samuel's stick there? He left it along.
Like a dinosaur.
A dinosaur skeleton, yeah.
Awesome stick. It is the dinosaur skeleton. And then the stick. And this one doesn't fit yet, Mom.
Well, put it down toward the bottom. There's a few more you guys
Uh-oh.
There's a few more you guys need.
Excuse me. Excuse me, this small one will fit.
Put it down to the bottom.
Excuse me.
There you go.
Now? You guys look. Take the shelter apart. Uh-oh. Look what happened.
I
have a question.
Yeah.
So, on a regular size scale, since the sticks or branches would be much bigger, would you have to cut and saw some of the pieces?
Possibly. Okay, I'm encouraging you to pack a saw, right? And so if you have it, use it.
Okay.
But if you didn't have it, you could still make it work.
Shouldn't be above that
Oh, okay.
center stick. The rib. The rib.
Okay, I think
Okay.
got enough.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. The only hole I'm reacting to is right here, so I'm going to move this one over to that area. There we go. Yeah, uh-huh.
How you're gonna even look like that?
Okay, we're not doing the front, okay?
Not even
Thank
a
you.
little baby can fit there.
Let's fix this a little bit here. Our sticks are falling inside.
Hey, look.
Yep.
It's a white one. I can do it.
Got one going in.
Nope, I don't. Are you gonna destroy it? And make a bigger one? We're gonna make a bigger
Well, you guys can play with that later. I just want to show how to do it first here to everybody.
We'll do the fire here?
And then,
No.
okay.
Well, we could just burn it right here.
Okay,
I had a lot of.
Need to get back right now, okay? I'm just going to put these back on the pile.
Sammy.
Okay. We have extra ribbing on there than is actually needed, but that's okay. If you got it, use it.
You have to make another shelter.
Okay, the next step is we need to add debris to this. And so we're going to send you out to gather leaves or pine needles or even all these shavings here that we did yesterday. And we're just going to stick them up against the ribbing there. Start at the bottom and work your way up. And we need to cover this whole thing with debris. Okay? So go gather leaves and debris. Again, be careful where you're putting your fingers.
Poison ivy.
They're all too
Don't
close.
get in the poison ivy.
Yeah, what that is.
Okay, the leaves can be dead and dry.
That's what I was thinking. Come on, people.
Yeah.
Dead leaves.
Here we go. Okay, see what the brother has here. That's what we need. Lots of that stuff. There you go. Okay, good job, good job. Both sides, both sides.
Get some dead leaves.
Good job.
Let me see it inside the shelf.
Okay, save those. Save those.
Hey, that's a nice shelter. Hey, that's a nice shelter.
We'll use those, but I want to save those.
Mr. Jim Bullock, that's nice what they're putting on it.
Nice shelter, yeah.
These are for you guys if you want them. I made the answer sheets.
Oh, where can I put this?
Just put it on top, anywhere, where we need it.
I'll go get some dead leaves.
It's looking better, huh?
Looking lots better. Yeah, in this area here, we need it right here. Yeah, let's save this though. Okay, on the right here. Yeah, Andrew, put yours over here. Okay, come back. Bring what you got.
We needed our
It's getting beautiful.
scarf to collect it all. What's the name of that?
It's getting beautiful though.
Oh, I'm glad you like it.
Whoa. Well, we look so dark.
Okay, you guys are going to have to make full-size ones of these. Okay.
I want to make a huge one.
Okay, that's a nice one.
You've made a huge one?
No, I want to.
Good.
Should.
Good. I hope you're getting inspired. Excuse me.
We have enough wood here.
Okay. Let's talk about this a minute. First things first. What would happen if a big wind came along? So let's add some more sticks to the outside to keep the wind from blowing it away. Now this other layer doesn't have to be solid like the ribbing layer was. Okay, they can be like that far apart. Yeah, just put that right here. Okay.
Uh-oh,
So
stick inside.
that's okay. So let's add some sticks to keep the wind from blowing it all away.
Bro. Don't break that one. That was for the next one.
No, the one for the next one's here.
Oh, that's
Yeah, careful.
But there's plenty of sticks already.
Okay, yeah, put yours on now.
There you go. There you go. There's another one. Here, buddy.
Okay, yeah, you want like heavier sticks for this.
Put it like this.
Found it.
They help hold the leaves from blowing away.
Okay, that's pretty good. Put on what you got, and we'll call it quits.
Whoa, that's the inside the shelter.
Need a few sticks down here in the bottom side.
Yeah, I need some down at the bottom. We got plenty on the upper part. Need some on the lower half.
That looks like, just like that working. It just looks like it. It looks like it. Oh, can I have some of those?
You guys making the shelter, and I
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. You guys are doing a really good job. We're not done yet, so save a little bit of your energy. Okay. Just so I don't forget to say this later. This is pretty camouflaged, isn't it? Yeah, so if you're wanting to be found, all right, you might want to hang something up out here so they will find that, because could walk right past this. Of course, if you're not wanting to be found, that could be a good thing. Okay, you guys did a really good job so far. Now remember, this is for a person about that tall, right?
Now, if you wanted to make this shelter really warm, you would add more debris. So we've got about this much of a layer. If you want to be warmer, you need to add more like this much layer, this thick of a layer.
Or even thicker yet.
Even thicker yet, depending on how cold it is outside. So we've got a little warm weather shelter here.
However, what we have here would probably shed light to medium rain. Maybe not a heavy rain. We'd probably want more. Okay, so the outside of the shelter here is pretty much done. We haven't done anything to the front, like I said, on purpose for several reasons. One of them being we're not done with the whole shelter yet. Okay, you will lose more of your body heat to the cold ground than you will to the cold air. So we want a layer of insulation inside on the ground to sleep on. It also makes it a little bit more comfortable, which is really nice. But the insulation's an important thing. You know, you can be uncomfortable and still be alive. You get too cold, you won't be. So we need another layer of stuff on the inside. Probably looking at this kind of stuff. All right, dry, not green. And that's one of the reasons I left the shelter open. Now, I just need to tell you a story before you go gather debris, because I don't want to forget later. I was building one of these once, and I found a whole bunch of really nice, dry, clean debris. And I thought, that's perfect for inside the bedding. And so I brought that, and I put it in the bedding. Had a nice layer there, and so I went back to finishing up the shelter with the other not quite so nice stuff. because it doesn't care whether it's nice stuff or not on the outside. Guess what? When I got done with my shelter, that nice clean stuff was no longer clean. All right? All the pieces of junk fell through the cracks and made it all dirty inside there. So I pulled all that stuff out, put it on the top, and went back and gathered some more. So you want to save, you know, if you're gathering and you find some nice clean stuff, you know, like stack it over here, save it for when you put it inside, or just go and gather it last. So you want, basically you want to put your bedding inside last, because you want the driest and cleanest stuff to go there, and you don't want to make it dirty by building the rest of the shelter, because all this stuff here is obviously dropping pieces down inside the shelter as well. So that's why we saved that for last. Okay? So let's go now and gather some more debris to make a bed, we call it a debris bed.
Gather some more by me.
I sure will. Thank I've never made a shelter like this.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, I bet you're going to do it again now, huh?
How?
Make a bigger one next time.
Get some of those leaves down there underneath the tree.
No, but
He's so cute. He's so excited about doing it. He's so excited about it.
Yes. Yes. Like what we have here, like I said, it would shed probably a light rain to maybe even a medium rain. Probably not a heavy rain. We'd need to be thicker for that. Yeah, that's another type of, like a trench shelter. Yeah, but it depends on your situation. You don't want to end up in a bathtub. You know, if it's going to, if the ground's real moist or flooding, choose your spot careful. Don't build on the sand.
Scattered all over.
Okay, if you're out gathering debris, bring what you got. That's good. Put it inside. This is real good. Yeah, all the way back inside, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want sticks inside. They'll be poking you.
Yeah, you want to not have sticks in this layer because, yeah, it'd be poking you for sure.
Sammy, you gonna sleep in there tonight?
I can't. Because I'll crack the back.
Are you too long?
Okay, I'll go ahead and put that in.
A little bit long?
Yeah.
we'll make a bigger one. Yeah.
It's more like a nest now.
Yeah, it's very much like a nest.
You're going to put that log across the bottom there? Oh, good. Sometimes you forget to do that, so I do it.
It's perfect size, too.
You notice Jim put a little log across the bottom. That keeps your debris from just scooting out when you crawl in there.
Yeah, I would like to actually have a larger one there. Maybe, you know, this kind of size, but anyway. All right. If we, I'm struggling with what to say first. This is pretty much a one-person shelter. I mean, this style. The reason being, this will keep you warm, okay, just the debris hut with all the debris, okay? You don't have to necessarily have a fire in connection with it. We're going to talk about fire in connection with it in just a minute. The trouble with making them larger is, you know, like ground level right here, right? As you make it larger, it also gets taller. And where does heat go? Up. Okay, the largest one we had of these was, we made a 4-person one once, and it wasn't all that warm. I mean, you had additional body heat in there, so you'd think that'd make it warmer, but it wasn't that warm a shelter because of the height. You know, it was like this kind of tall. And so you want these to be, you know, low and compact. If it's really cold, like Becky was saying, you want, you know, real nice thick layer of debris. I'm like, to your armpit, reach in. 3 or 4 feet thick there. And you would also make something out here in the front. Now, we've left the door open so we can put that layer inside, and also so I can say some of the things I'm going to say in a minute. But for like a one-person shelter, or maybe 2 people, parent with a child kind of thing especially, you'd want some kind of a front on this, and the door is going to be just big enough for you to fit inside. And then you'll plug that door off even somehow. Make some kind of a door, or just stack up more debris and plug off the opening. So you cut.
It's really cold. Sometimes you fill it here full of debris and then just wiggle into it so the debris is all around your body, and that helps get you.
Yeah, if it's real, especially with leaves, they pack down a lot, and so you would want to crawl in and let it, roll around and pack it down, stuff it full again, crawl in, roll around, pack it down, maybe 2 or 3 times depending on your debris, what you're using.
Jim, I know you slept in one of these, but I don't know if Becky slept in one of these.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I haven't always been old.
Get in, Mom.
Okay, so we're in groups. What do? Couple possibilities. One is you would make, I got to tell you a story with this. We had a group out and got there by mid-afternoon or whatever, and turned everybody loose making their shelters. And everybody was, oh, there's a nice spot over by that tree. I'm going to go build my shelter there. And somebody else was down here, and people over there and here. And the staff, we made our place to sleep by the fire pit, which, was common for the whole group. And by morning, everybody was by the fire pit. Okay? So that place that looks like a perfect place for a shelter over there, after it gets dark and just a little bit spooky maybe, it's not quite so nice. And so would really encourage you to build your shelters together to begin with. And so one option is like you could have a central area here, and then these, obviously somebody's not going to have their shelter facing east, but depending on the situation, what you might want to do there. You could put them in a row, or just where you could, talk to each other a little bit, at least through the walls. The other option is to build something exactly like this same, design, but larger, say this tall. And we've done this quite a bit too.
Not the teepee. You're not talking about the teepee? No,
we'll talk about that in a minute. Build the same design, but just this big and like that, and you can fit 4, 5, 6 people in there, depending on how actually big you make it, maybe even this tall. But the exact same design, same construction method, everything's same. Like I said, when you make it bigger, you're taller. So if you're doing that, I would want a fire in connection with the shelter if it was cold. Which means I'm going to right about where I'm standing. Let's say this is, this kind of tall. Right about where I'm standing, I would make the fire pit with a reflector wall of some sort. Rocks are the best, but I've used all sorts of stuff. Reflector wall to reflect the heat into the shelter. And just notice the angles of the walls, they're all reflecting that heat right back down to where you're sleeping.
You should remember to keep your fire small, that you're sleeping in a timber bundle.
Yeah, just watch it really closely. Make sure you're not using woods that throw sparks. Yeah. We've had some interesting times. There are people who have had their shelter burned down on them in the middle of the night. That hasn't happened to us. But, yeah, anyway. So that's one option. Also, you could have, if the group's larger than the 4 to 6 people, you could have several of those around a central fire also. And we've done that, for groups of 20-ish or so. Have like 4 or 5 shelters around kind of a central area and just have a larger fire in the middle. You probably need to keep the fire going all night. And so you just assign what we call fire watches, where, you know, I'll take it for, let's say, from 9 to 10, you take it from 10 to 11, somebody else takes it from 11 to 12, and so on through the night. Just let people volunteer. Some people like the really late night hours, and some want to do it and get it over with. Some want to do it early in the morning. It usually works out pretty well. The really nice shelter to make, though, if you got a group, is, again, it's the same construction method, but a little different design, and that's a cone shape, like a teepee, a brush teepee. And many of the natives did just that. You know, this might be, oh, from me to Sandra around, let's say. Nice big teepee. Okay, at the very top, we wouldn't worry so much about filling all that in because it's hard to reach anyway, but you need a smoke hole in these things because you got a fire inside them. Everybody's sleeping on debris bed around the outside, and you have a fire pit area. You know, fire's maybe this big, doesn't need to be very big fire. You can also cook on that same fire, and then you have a space outside of the fire, say at least this wide, that's clear, no debris. At least that big. And just watch that area really close. And again, you know, with fire watches, the person who's doing the fire watch is not only feeding the fire, but also keeping eye out for safety, so nobody gets burnt and stuff. And those shelters are really nice because you can, you know, cook inside, just have the fire right there as you're going to sleep. That's awesome. So I think you get the picture here pretty well. A lot of different possibilities and variations, but it's the same basic construction technique. And again, debris bed for everybody.
There's someone else building a shelter behind you.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was going to say something about being doers of the word, not just hearers. Yeah, he's doing it. Good job. Unfortunately with kids, sometimes they get about this far and that's as far as they get. So they need a little encouragement to like finish the project and get it all done.
That's a big one. Remember, leave the door open.
Okay, just before we shift gears, shift to something else here. One of the main reasons I wanted you all to build this rather than me just doing it for you is so that you actually see, you know, and get at least a little bit of idea of how long it might take to gather all the materials and then build the shelter, okay? And this is a model, so it's smaller scale, and we've got a whole group, and this went together really quick, relatively. Imagine building a full-size one for just yourself. Everybody else in the group's doing the same thing. So like your shelter is you. Imagine how long it would take you to get that done. Okay?
And you're not putting this much debris, you're putting this much debris on it.
Yeah. So you're going to spend a lot of time gathering debris. Now, frequently when I send people out to gather debris, they'll bring back in, you know, a handful like this and go get another handful. Okay, if you need to build a full debris shelter, think about how long it's going to take you if you're only bringing in this much. So I just really want to encourage you to get super serious about gathering debris. You know, you want to bring in bundles like this. And like Sarah suggested, use your scarf or jacket or something. Bring in as much as you can in a load. And you're going to need several loads as it is. It's going to take long enough. Okay?
And we've been in places where there isn't much debris.
Well, we'll
like here.
talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
Some places you go, there's not a lot.
So yeah, be real serious about gathering debris when you're making one of these. You know, not just bring it in by the handful. I think I mentioned this, but I need to say it again because this is perfect timing for it. There was a group of us out on a survival camp out, and we're building our shelters. And one of the people on the trip made the observation, one way or the other, you got to do the work. And that applies particularly to shelters, but it also applies to a whole lot of other things. So I'm going to say it again. One way or the other, you've got to do the work. Okay? I've worked with youth ministries an awful lot, and teenagers are notorious for being lazy. And so they try not to do things, to making life easier on them, but when it gets cold and dark, then they just made their life really hard because they didn't finish up their shelter, or they got distracted, they didn't get to work, didn't do the work. So that's one lesson from that saying. The other, and the intent of what my friend meant when he said that, was think about how much work is going into this. Okay, you need a shelter when you get there to your camp. You need a shelter, one way or the other. So either you're going to have to work to build one of these, or group one or whatever, or you're going to have to work to carry something in that you can make a shelter with. And so on that trip, with that observation being made at the beginning of the trip and subsequent trips, we played with that idea quite a bit. And, excuse me, I need to get my pack right back here. We realized there's a lot of things that are easier to bring in with us than to make once you're out in nature, okay? We talked earlier about if you're gonna need a knife. If you didn't bring a knife, then you gotta find a rock that you can break and get a sharp edge so that you have something to cut with.
Stone knife.
And all the rest of those things, you're gonna need a water bottle, okay? Going down the list, water bottle, cook pot, fire starter, tarp, cordage, okay, fire starter. Becky's gonna demonstrate the bow drill here again, because some people missed that, okay? If you're gonna get Andrew to help you? Good. You get put to work right away. That's awesome. But you're going to need all these things, okay? You can make them all from nature, but just think about how long it's going to take you to make all that stuff, which basically means that your first couple of days, you might be doing without certain things that you really need, especially if the weather's not so great, okay? And so it's worth it to carry some stuff in. Much easier to carry this pack than it is to do all of that stuff for a couple of days and then try to figure out some way to make a basket or something that I can carry all that stuff with me. Okay, just picture the fire drill set. Okay, the time and effort that went into carving, finding the materials and then carving that set. Am I going to leave that behind and build a new set each time I make camp if I'm moving around? No, I'm going to take that with me, along with everything else that I can practically carry. Those are the kind of thoughts that ended up with the pack. Because one way or the other, you got to do the work because you need this stuff. So let's focus on shelter again.
Let's take this one down.
How heavy is this?
5 pounds.
5 pounds? Come feel it. Come feel it.
1 pound.
I weighed it.
Oh, one pound.
Yeah, just a little over 1 pound. Okay? Is this hard to carry? No. Especially compared to building that thing, right? So why not bring one of these? Okay, your shelter goes up a whole lot quicker. It's a lot more waterproof right away. You can always add more debris if you want more insulation, but you got something to start with that's fairly quick and easy. Now, there's one other thing that goes with this though. If we're going to put one of these kind of shelters together, what else do we need to have? Some cordage. You see pieces strung here. Okay. So, do you want us to leave this up or do you want us to take it down and throw it back in the woods?
The kids will probably want to get in and I'll play in it.
No, we should build a bigger one.
Just leave it. The kids
Leave it. Okay, so we'll leave it. That means I'm going to need, well, I guess we can do it here.
Can we do a big
Guys, come over.
Yeah, we'll do it here. Okay.
You want to leave this up?
Yeah, they want to leave it up.
We could do that one over there.
Well, that's, I don't want to do it on the gravel.
You can remove. You're gonna demonstrate something else. You can remove.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that there.
Honey, I brought you your chair.
Hey guys, come and all the sticks.
It's time to destroy the camp.
What?
No, you can leave it if you want. I can do it over here. That's no problem. Yeah. Yeah. And these we can just scoot back a little bit.
Can we look in it?
We're not going to take it down.
Can we
We're going to leave it there for you to play with. Yes, you can look in for sure.
Crawl in there if you want.
Okay. Please go online and look up tarp shelters, especially like in Google Images or something like that. You'll see these posters of like 60 different types of tarp shelters. All right? Fill your head full of as many ideas as possible. Each situation is different. That's one reason I like carrying a tarp rather than a tent. I mean, a tent is just, you know, it's a tent. That's the only way you can set it up. Okay, tarp, I've got gazillion different possibilities here. Each situation's a little bit different. And so, you know, the more ideas you have in your head, the better off. There's certain shelters we found ourselves making frequently that we like, but every once in a while we'll be in another type of situation where something else works better. Yeah, just again, get as many ideas as possible. So I'm just going to demonstrate one type of shelter this morning. You know, if we were trying to do all 60, or I mean, there's more than that actually, we'd be here for a long, long time. So I'm going to do this one. The reason I like this one is because it's relatively quick and easy. It's one of the easier ones to make. And it totally encloses you. Okay? Some of the other shelters we've played with a lot have been like the larger version of this that I told you about. Okay, for like 4 or 5 people. With 2 tarps. One on one side, one on the other. They overlap at the top. You know, on a frame of poles. Another one we played with more recently that we really like is figured out how to make the tarp teepee. Okay, out of tarps. It takes like 6 tarps, 6 or 7, and it's good for, you know, that same number of people. In theory, everybody's carrying their own tarp. And that way, when you know, if you happen to get separated, you at least have something to work with. And when you get to camp, you got several tarps to work with, so you can build one of these group shelters easier. Really love that tarp teepee. We've done like full-on rainstorms in those, and they're just nice and cozy inside. Nothing like when it's really dumping rain outside. You can crawl inside, have a fire in there even, and get dried out and, you know, comfortable sleep. Now, the one thing with the tarp shelter is you still need to make the debris bed. I suppose if you carried a mat with you, but that's making your pack heavier. Usually you can gather enough debris to make a debris bed. Okay, we have been in places where there was so little debris, that debris bed wasn't thick at all, but generally that's what we've been working with. Yes?
Tarp teepee, how do you close off the center so rain?
You don't. If you have a fire inside, you want the smoke hole.
So rain will just come in.
Yeah, but where's the rain falling? On the fire area, so it's not bothering you. It's only the odd drop that gets out. Actually, what happens, the fire is going up, the fire is warm and hot. Most of it evaporates before it hits the ground. And the little bit that does, it's like, so what? You know, plus you have that cleared area around you. Yeah, it's only the odd drop that's going to get you, and that, you know, that doesn't matter. Okay, so we need this. To set up the particular tarp shelter I'm showing you, I need some stakes, which I have already cut to facilitate this. Actually, I think somebody else made these stakes for me. That wouldn't be hard to carve, okay? After learning a little bit of skill you got yesterday, all of you could crank out these, no problem. Okay, so we need a few stakes. And we need a pole, which I saved this one for. This is longer than it needs to be. These things that are sticking out like this, we would want to chop these off, but I've got the machete in the pack here. So we'll do that right quick. You don't want to poke holes in the tarp or in you.
What's she making, Mom?
There we go. Okay. I need a volunteer. Yeah, Andrew, come on. Okay, I'm going to set this up facing, yeah, because I have the space back here. I'm going to set this up facing you all rather than facing east, all right? So you understand that. And I'm going to have Andrew hold this. If I was actually setting this up for myself, it would come together in a little bit different order. But I want you to see how it's supposed to come together more than, you know, the order to set it up in. If you're by yourself, it's pretty obvious. But that way he can hold that and I don't have a string to trip on. And use my digging stick to drive the stakes. Now this tarp I have set up to make this shelter, which means you need to have, these things, they call them grommets, okay, these rings, metal rings. And to make this particular shelter, you need to have a grommet in the center of one of the long sides, okay? This is an 8x10 tarp. You can see the long sides and the short side of it, okay? You could set this up with a smaller tarp. We've done this with smaller tarps. This is the size I recommend most people to carry, the 8x10. Actually, the next size smaller will do for most people. If you're tall like me, or if you have a child, need a little extra space, go ahead and go with the larger shelter. The larger tarp. So, if the tarp doesn't have a grommet here in the center of one of the long sides, then go to the hardware store and buy a grommet kit and just put a grommet in. Now you're going to notice this is a brass grommet and these are aluminum grommets. The aluminum ones are the ones the tarp came with. There's several brass ones around this outside. When I first started doing this, we tried to drive the stake through the grommet hole, and that sort of works, but it really tears up the grommets eventually. And so to avoid that, just tie little loops of cordage, okay, and put the stake through there, and that saves your grommets and your tarp. You could do that, when you got to camp, because hopefully you got some cordage. Also, because I've done this before, I left a length of cordage hooked on here, so this is easy to tie onto the pole. Okay, so maybe stand off over there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tie this at the point, which this I might actually do on the ground. It's easier to show it to you if it's up and down though, than if it's all on the ground. I'm going to tie this at the point. Okay, so remember this is in the middle of the longest side. So the corner of the tarp is down there, and this is where I'm going to tie it on. By the way, the instructions for this tarp shelter, as well as the tarp teepee and the other tarp, like open-faced one, are in the book. So you don't have to try to remember all this.
Are they on the web page also, Jim?
I'm not sure. need to be. Okay.
Jim,
Yes.
and if you want to, you can even put it up at that Y-shaped hook, and then you'll put sticks going along the bottom of the tarp and fill it in with debris.
You got lots of options. With a tarp, you got lots of options.
Papi, take pictures for Mommy. Take pictures for Mommy.
Who wants to drive in some steaks? No, I need big people for this. Now, when you drive a steak in, it's really tempting. People are just beginning, you drive it just straight in. That's the most logical way to do it. Okay, but that isn't the way that works the best. Because your hook, you have this little loop of rope that's pulling at this kind of angle and it just comes right off. So you want to put the stakes in at an angle. And they say, like, just kind of pick a spot underground, you know, imaginary in your head. That's underneath, they say, the center of the shelter, and you kind of aim for that spot. Okay? So I need a couple stakes put in back here. Oh, you're right here. Good. Drive it in with that. There's a stake. And let's see. Make sure we get to the right one. Yeah, okay. So the two, I also ended up putting a grommet in the middle on the back side of this. I don't really need that, but these are where the grommets were that the tarp came with. And so these two on the back, these are, I'm going to put these in next. Doesn't matter. Yeah, just put that one in right there, and then this one will go in over here. And so keep this, you know, these two tight apart from each other.
Where do you want to go? All the way?
No, just take it in another inch or so, though.
Can I get the other one?
Yes. Here you go. Okay, I'm going to step over the top of you here.
Want more?
That's good. That's good. Okay, so, you know, just keep that taut there. Okay, going to toss you another steak. Here's another steak for you. Okay, that one. Okay, just look over the top so you can see the instructions here. Just a minute, Jose. I want this right here, so you're going to pull that tight between me and you and between yourself and that other steak. No, don't worry about that corner.
Okay, well.
Just the one you have right there, where the steak's at. Just pull it. You know, you want it tight between there and between here and there. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just put it in right there. Okay, same thing on this side. Okay, so I'll hold this here for you. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
That's yours.
There you go. That's good. Okay. All right. So you see what's happening here? You got to notice that this isn't flat across the front. You know, we keep wanting to make it flat across the front. I kept fighting with that until I realized, no, that isn't the way it works. It's at an angle, which actually has a good point because we could put another shelter exactly the same as this around here. And maybe even a third one all around the same pole. This extra tarp that we have sticking out here, let's tuck this under inside to give a little bit of floor. Yeah, no, just, and Andrew, if you're getting tired of holding that, just pass off to somebody else. Okay.
All the kids inside there and take a picture of all
Yeah, all the kids get in there and take a picture.
Yes, I like it in here. I almost do it.
Best picture of the whole week.
Look over here. Look this way, guys.
What?
Short side, right, where the pole is stuck on?
The pole is on one of the long sides.
Long side, okay.
Yeah, this is the short side over here. Actually, those two back there, that's the back edge of the other long side. And so the short side is kind of what's coming around this corner, yeah.
To a tree as well?
Oh, yes. Yeah, okay. So you kids are welcome to stay there. You just need to be quiet because I need to talk to people some more.
Hey, can you close?
You could tie this to a tree. Totally tie this to a tree. All right, that might be easier. Also, I have a walking stick that's, I mean, this is just right walking stick length. And I've just used my walking stick for it. Okay, which I bring with me, which is one less thing. But it's usually pretty easy to cut a pole like this out in the woods somewhere. Find a little dead tree that you can cut down.
We want to close.
You want to close the lures?
Yeah.
There you go. So for me, I would be sleeping like corner to corner, okay, but another shorter person could sleep with me. I got room for my gear and stuff too.
For the picture.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't know we was that.
Okay, again, there's a lot of different types of tarp shelters. This is just one. Okay, it's quick and easy, gives you total enclosure. You could add other tarps to it, you know, if you're a family. I mean, just imagine having another one of these hooked on here, coming on around, you know, probably be around about here, something like that. That would more than double your usable space. So just lots of options. Make sure they don't hit your toe.
Is this the same type of layout that you would have for the group tent, the teepee, but maybe for the length?
The group teepee I make off of like a tripod, like a tall tripod, and then add 2 more poles, so it's like a hexagon. And then tie the tarps onto that. Yeah, just check out the instructions in the book.
Oh, on the book. Okay.
Yeah, that would be that would take longer to do, way longer to do than this.
They've got a bunch of tarp shelters online.
Yeah.
Too. There's lots of them.
So
Google
Jim,
it.
you just stick that pole down in so he doesn't have to keep holding it?
What would do is like tie another cord here and pull it out.
Put a stake out here.
Yeah, with another stake. Okay, just because we're short on space and Andrew's here willing to hold it.
Okay.
So, you know, we just went ahead and went this way. So you get the picture.
Yeah.
Again, everybody, theoretically, everybody carries their own tarp. So like if you're a parent and you have a child with you, the child is carrying probably the smallest tarp you can find. That one you would probably use for your floor. Don't forget to put a debris bed in there.